Hey guys, here's an update on my Summon Reapers of Revenants build for 3.28. I'm very excited to walk you through all the upgrades I've done since my last video. This is still a very good bossing build, and it does decently well in mapping, and in my opinion, it's not as annoying as the other popular Spectre builds that just clutter the screen with all those ice projectiles. So let's start with an overview. We are focusing on this rare minion called Summon Reapers, and we do not rely on any Spectres at all. The main difference between this build and my previous one is that instead of using the typical Dark Monarch helm, I'm actually using a standard minion helmet with +2 levels to all minion skill gems. This way, although we do not have double the amount of Reapers, but thanks to the new congregation support, we will have up to 7 Reapers. And don't worry, even though we have less Reapers, we are doing way more damage than before, and our Reaper survivability have increased exponentially. I think this quality of life is definitely worth the sacrifice of just 3 Reapers. And to address the elephant in the room, isn't 14 Reapers better than 7? Yes, I have tried 14 Reapers, but our Reapers are already made of paper, and the most annoying thing about this build is resummoning them as they die, and they cost so much mana to resummon, so that is not a good idea. If you're not familiar with Reapers, Reapers can actually consume a damageable allied minion to heal themselves and to apply a buff. So according to the footage that you see over here, I'm using the new Hiveborn support to trigger minions, and because my Reapers are now taking damage due to Infernal Legion, he is actually periodically consuming our minion to heal himself and to give him a buff. This buff increases their attack speed and movement speed by 40%, and it increases their area of effect by 30%, and it also makes them 10% larger. It is a buff that is too good to ignore as it provides significant benefits to both damage and survivability. But how do we provide minions for our Reapers to consume? Initially, I thought of using this new belt, the Screams of the Desiccated, with the Skeleton Shrine buff, as I thought it could automate the summoning of skeletons, and the skeletons can be consumed by my Reapers. So I tried that. I thought it would be a good way to bypass the limitations of the Dark Monarch helm, which only allows us to summon only one type of minion. But here's the thing, the skeletons that you summon because of the belt aren't your minions, so you cannot sacrifice them. That means I'm stuck with summoning the skeletons myself, and guess what? This league, they have actually released a new support gem called the Hiveborn support. So when you combine it with an offering skill, you can actually summon Hiveborn minions automatically, and these minions can be eaten by our Reapers. The only catch is that you still need to trigger the offering manually, so that the offering would then cause the Hiveborn support to summon minions. Now let's take a look at the gear and see what's the difference between this version and my old one. I'm still using a mirrored weapon. Unfortunately right now, there's no mirror tier weapon that boosts critical strikes, critical damage, multi-strike, elemental damage with attack, and more attack damage, along with +1 to socketed gems. I will be upgrading to that weapon if it appears on TFT or on the trade site, but this current weapon only does about 10 million DPS less than my ideal one. The next difference is I have this new bone ring, and this bone ring, I'm going to equip it on my left ring slot, which makes my minions take 10% less damage. I made this ring by buying one from the trade site with a fractured minion damage, and then I spam the metallic fossils and the bound fossils until I get minion life, minion attack speed, and lightning resistance. Once I hit those mods, I then use a Hinokora's lock, and then I'm going to apply the reflective mist until I get a ring that looks like this. And for my other bone ring, I actually did the same crafting technique. I'm going to apply the metallic fossils and the bound fossils until I got the desired mods of minion damage, minions have elemental resistances, and minions have increased attack speed. After I achieve those, I'm going to use the Hinokora's lock again, along with the reflective mist, in order to achieve the bone ring that you see over here. Now these processes are very expensive because your Hinokora's lock might fail multiple times, but these upgrades are definitely worthwhile because it increases our minion survivability, it increases their minion life, and also kept out their elemental resistances. The next upgrade I got was the Replica Dragon Fangs Amulet. I found this on the trade site that gives +4 level to all summon Reaper gems. Right now that's pretty good because we do not have the +1 to socketed gems on our mirrored weapon, and we have lost our awakened minion damage support because that support gem actually increases our minion skills by +1. So therefore, any further increase in levels of our minion skill gems will go a long way. The next upgrade I did was I utilized 3 large minion cluster jewels instead of the 2 from my previous build. So if you guys want to check out the difference in the large cluster that are used in this version, you can always refer to the POB link below. Now we are going to talk about our links. So on our main weapon, we are socketing our Summon Reapers of Revenants gem together with a level 5 Awaken and Power support, together with a level 4 Congregation support. It is important to use a level 5 Awaken support because that will make the most of our minion levels. And we have to use a level 4 Congregation support to get 7 Reapers. A level 3 Congregation will not work. Next, we are going to take a look at the Summon Reaper gem again. This time, in this league, there is a new currency known as the Coin of Knowledge. We can actually imbue our Summon Reaper gem with level 1 elemental focus. Since our minions are dealing lightning damage due to 100% conversion from the Triad Grip Gloves, we can actually utilize level 1 elemental focus to increase the lightning damage that our Reapers deal. And we do not need our Reapers to apply shock because we have the Necromancer Ascendancy called Corpse Pact, and that will cause our enemies to be chilled and shocked around the corpses that we spawn. I have also socketed minion damage support along with melee physical damage support together with Consecrated Effect on the Squire. All of these are just to make our Reapers even more powerful. The Consecrated Effect is also because most of our Reaper's attacks are area based, and according to POB, this support actually gives us the most damage. Alright, so let's dive into the jewels that I've used on the skill tree. First, I am utilizing a Storm Shroud jewel. Now this Storm Shroud jewel will apply our chances to avoid shock to all elemental ailments, and I got 100% to avoid shock due to the boots that I have here. So if you take a look, I have a boots that have 60% chance to avoid shock due to essences, and I also have a 40% chance to avoid shock due to the Searing Exarch implicit. The next jewel I used was the Thread of Hope with the Massive Ring. This is a very efficient jewel because it gives us a few nodes. It gives us Spiritual Command, it gives us Retribution, and it gives us Combat Stamina along with Sanctuary and Tireless. So all of this will give us a very efficient way to connect all of these nodes. Then we are going to equip 3 Grand Spectrum jewels. This will let our minions get a critical strike multiplier per Grand Spectrum, so you will need 3 of these. Now, the next thing we're going to talk about is our other links that we have on our gear. So let's chat about our armor. In our 6 links, I'm going to be utilizing Desecrate along with 2 curses, Punishment and Assassin's Mark. I'm automating these skills using the Arcanist brand to help trigger these skills. I'm also pairing the skills with the Empower support together with the new Transfusion support. The new Transfusion support makes our skills cost life instead of mana, and each time we spend life, our nearby minion will actually gain souls. I'm not sure how it exactly works, but when our minions gain souls, it stacks and boosts its attack speed by 5% per stack up to a total of 45 stacks. I doubt we can reach the maximum stacks because we have so many minions, but any boost in DPS is definitely going to be welcome. On to our combination of Glorious Vanity together with our Sublime Vision and Watcher's Eye. We will need this combination as we are using the Doriani's prototype, which causes our enemies to have lightning resistance equals to ours. And since we have negative 200 lightning resistance thanks to both of our rings, we will need to find a way to convert all of this lightning damage to other forms of elemental damage. So to do so, we will need the Glorious Vanity with the Zibaqua Keystone that will allow us to get Divine Flesh. So Divine Flash allows us to convert 50% of our elemental damage to chaos damage, and we are going to pair this with our Sublime Vision, which converts 30% of the lightning damage to cold, and together with our Watcher's Eye, which converts the remaining 20% of our lightning damage to cold. So in total, we would have converted all 100% of our lightning damage and fire damage to cold and chaos. Therefore, we only need to cap out our cold and chaos resistance, and this can be done easily through gear. I have a helmet equipped with cold and chaos resistance, together with boots with also cold and chaos resistance, and together with a large cluster jewel that provides cold resistance per small passive skill, I would have a total of 90 maxed out cold resistance that we see here. Finally, we are going to move on to the rest of our defenses. Unfortunately, we are a little bit squishy, so we're going to try to get as many physical damage reduction, as many life, as many block chances as we can get. We achieve this by choosing our Ascendancy, the Bone Barrier. So from here, we are going to have 10% physical damage reduction. We are also going to rely on the Glorious Vanity Timeless Jewel in order to change some of the notes that you see here. And I've obtained one, which can give us 4% additional reduction here. I have another maximum chaos resistance here, another physical damage reduction over here. So all of this will definitely help us out. Next, we achieve maximum block chance by anointing Deflection that you see over here, all the way at the bottom of the tree. I've also pathed to As the Mountain. I've also taken Sanctuary. So all of this will help to maximize our block chances. I've also spent money to change some of these strength notes into block chance due to the tattoo of the shield barrier. So all of this will definitely boost our defenses by a little. I could have used Bone Offering instead of Spirit Offering, but this time around, I chose to use Spirit Offering because I want to go all out on DPS, so I refused to use Bone Offering to boost my block chances. I could also have used Rumi's Concoction in order to increase my block chances, but this time, I chose to use the Progenesis Flask instead in order to help out with my survivability. And that's it, guys. So this is the updated Summon Reapers of Revenants build for 3.28. It is quite sad that we lost the Awakened Minion damage, as that would have provided the much needed +1 to our Minion skill, but that is more than made up with the new imbued Elemental Focus, and thanks to the new Congregation support, we actually end up dealing 130 million DPS according to POB, compared to our previous build of only about 70 million DPS. I hope GGG gives us some MTX to make our Reapers look cooler, and there has got to be a better way to make our Reapers consume minions. Anyway, thanks for listening, guys. I'm going to be doing a video on mapping and bossing, so stay tuned for that. Thanks for listening and have a nice day.